Welcome, everyone. One of the best ways to prepare for the IELTS speaking test is to see it in action. That's exactly what we're doing today with this complete mock test from Spinta. As you listen, think about what the candidate does well and where they could improve. Afterwards, we'll compare notes with a full performance breakdown. Let's begin. Good afternoon. My name is Mr. Patel. Could you tell me your full name, please?
Hello, yes, my name is Emily Rose Carter. You can call me Emily. Sorry, sometimes I use my middle name at home, but everywhere else I am Emily.
Thank you, Emily. Where are you from?
I am from a small city near the coast called Linton. It is not so big, but it have nice beaches and old markets, which I like to visit when I have holiday. The city is close to my family, so we meet often.
Do you work or are you a student?
I am working at the moment. I work as a marketing assistant for a small company. It is not a big firm, but I learn a lot, and I have been there for 3 years now.
Right. How did you choose that job?
Well, when I finished university, I was not sure what to do. I like communication and writing, so marketing feel natural. Also, one of my friends, she recommended the place, and I got interview. It was good timing and I accepted.
Let's talk about your home. Do you live in a house or an apartment?
I live in an apartment in the city center. It is small but comfortable. There is one bedroom, a small kitchen, and a balcony with plants. I like it because I can walk to the office and to the shops easily.
How long have you lived there?
I have been lived here for 5 years. Actually, I moved when I started my job, so it was convenient. The building is old, but neighbors are friendly, and we sometimes share tea on weekend.
Do you plan to stay there long term?
Maybe for a while. I want to save money to buy own apartment someday, but at the moment I like the city life. If I find better job elsewhere, I will consider moving, but for now it is fine.
Now about your family. How many people are in your family?
There are 5 people in my family. I have parents and 2 younger brothers. They are both studying in school. My mother, she is teacher, and my father works in a factory. We are close, and we speak almost every day.
What do you enjoy doing together as a family?
We like cooking together on Sundays. My mother make a big meal and we watch old movies. Sometimes, we go to the seaside for picnic. It's simple things but it make us happy and connected.
Do your brothers have similar interests to you?
They are different. One likes sports and he play football a lot, the other he like drawing and comics. I am somewhere between. I enjoy music and reading more than sports. We still share jokes though.
Let's talk about your daily routine. What is a typical weekday like for you?
I usually wake up at 7, make coffee and check emails. I travel by bus to office and start work at 9. Days are busy with meetings, preparing content, and answering messages. After work, I try to walk or do small exercise. And then I cook dinner and read a bit.
How do you relax after a busy day?
I listen to music or sometimes watch a comedy show. Also, I like to read, especially short stories. It helps me to forget stress. On weekends, I meet friends and we go out for coffee or to the market.
You mentioned reading. What sort of books do you prefer?
I'm very interested about music and literature, so I read novels that have strong characters. I enjoy contemporary fiction and sometimes historical novels. Also, I read magazines about art and culture to get new ideas for work.
How long have you been reading regularly?
Since I was child. My parents, they always encouraged reading. I remember my mother taking me to library every weekend. Now I try to read at least 1 book a month, but sometimes work make that difficult.
Do you prefer reading physical books or digital books?
I prefer physical books because I like turning the pages and the smell of paper. But for traveling, I use an e-reader because it is lighter. So both have advantage, depending situation.
Now let's talk about hobbies. What do you do in your free time?
In my free time, I listen to music, go to small concerts, and sometimes I paint. Painting is new hobby for me. I started 2 years ago, and it is relaxing. I also meet friends, and we explore new cafes in the city.
Why did you start painting?
It began when I had stressful period at work, and I wanted to try something calm. A friend invited me to a workshop, and I liked it. Now I paint on weekends and sometimes sell small pieces to friends.
What do you enjoy most about painting?
I enjoy the process, choosing colors and seeing ideas becoming real. It is like meditating for me, and I can express feelings that are difficult to say in words. Also, it helps my creativity for job.
Finally, in this part, what are your plans for the future?
I hope to develop my career in marketing and maybe study part-time for masters. I would like to travel more and see places in Europe I haven't visited. Long term, I want to buy a small apartment and maybe have quiet family life, but I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Now we will move to the next part. I will give you a topic and you have 1 minute to prepare. You will then speak for about 2 to 3 minutes. Here is your topic. Describe a memorable trip you have taken. Please say where you went, who you went with, what you did, and explain why it was memorable. You have 1 minute to prepare.
Okay. I will try to organize my thoughts. I think I will talk about a trip to the mountains with my friend Sarah 2 summers ago. I will mention the hike, the small village, the food, and why it was memorable.
Please begin when you are ready.
2 summers ago, I took a trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains with my friend Sarah, and it was one of the most memorable experiences I have had. We went for 5 days and we stayed in a small guest house in a village near the trail. The journey started with a long bus ride, and when we arrived, it felt like another world, fresh air and quiet. Each day we hiked different paths. Some were steep and challenging, but the views at the top were incredible, with valleys and rivers like silver lines below. We also met local people and tried traditional food, like a bread with cheese and wild berries. It was very tasty. One evening there was a small music event in the village square, and we joined, dancing with locals and listening to songs I did not understand but still enjoyed. The reason it was memorable is not only because of the scenery, but because of how connected I felt to nature and to Sarah. We talked a lot during the walks, and we were supporting each other on difficult parts of the trail. Also, it changed my perspective about traveling slow and appreciating small things. I learned to be less attached to my phone and to enjoy present moments. When we returned, I felt refreshed, and I started planning more trips like this. Sorry, maybe I am talking too much, but it was important to me because it helped my mental recharge, and I made good memories with friends.
Interesting. You mentioned dancing with locals. How did that make you feel?
It was surprising at first because I am not good at dancing, but I felt welcomed and it was fun. The music was simple and everyone was smiling. I felt like part of community, and it made the trip special because it was unexpected and warm.
Did the trip change the way you travel now?
Yes, definitely. Now I prefer slower trips with time to explore small places, talk to people, and not rush. Before I try to see many attractions quickly, but after that I value quality time and simple experiences.
Right. Let's move on to part 3. We'll talk about travel and culture in more general terms. Do you think travel is important for people today?
I think travel is very important because it opens your mind and you learn about different ways of life. Meeting other people and seeing different cultures helps to reduce stereotypes, and it can teach empathy. Also, travel helps with language learning and gives opportunity to try new foods and customs.
Some people say travel can be bad for the environment. What is your view on that?
Yes, travel can have negative impact, especially flights and mass tourism that damage local places. But I think we can travel more responsibly by using trains, staying longer in one place, supporting local businesses, and avoiding places that are overcrowded. Education about sustainable tourism is important.
How can governments encourage more sustainable tourism?
Governments can create regulations to limit visitor numbers in fragile areas and invest in public transport to reduce car use. They can also help local business with training about sustainable practices and promote off-season travel. Taxes on pollution or incentives for eco-friendly hotels could help too.
Do you think people from different generations travel in different ways?
Yes, I think younger people often seek adventure and low-cost travel, sometimes staying in hostels and using budget airlines. Older people might prefer comfort and organized tours. But this generalization is changing because many older people are becoming more active and use internet to plan independent trips now.
How has technology changed the way people travel?
Technology changed travel a lot. You can book and compare prices online, use apps for maps and translation, and find local experiences through social platforms. It makes planning easier, but sometimes it means people miss unexpected experiences because they follow reviews too much. There is balance to find.
Do you think cultural festivals are important for a country's identity?
Yes, festivals show traditions, music, and food which express a country's identity. They bring communities together and help preserve heritage. For visitors, festivals give deep insight into local life that museum or guidebooks cannot fully show.
Could too much tourism change local culture in a negative way?
Yes, when tourism is too big, it can commercialize traditions, change behavior of locals, and make towns lose authenticity. For example, shops may sell souvenirs instead of traditional crafts. That is sad because culture becomes product instead of living practice.
How do you think education influences people's attitudes to travel and other cultures?
Education plays a big role. If people learn about other cultures at school, they become more open and curious. Language classes, exchange programs, and multicultural curricula help reduce prejudice. Also, personal stories and literature from other countries build empathy and interest to travel respectfully.
Some people say that mass tourism benefits local economies a lot. Do you agree?
It does bring money and jobs, especially in service industries, but benefits are not always fairly distributed. Big tour operators and foreign investors may take large share of profit. It is important to find ways so local entrepreneurs and communities receive real benefits.
If you could create a new travel program, what would it focus on?
I would create a program that connects travelers with local families for homestays, workshops, and cultural exchange, focusing on learning crafts, cooking, and language. This would help cultural understanding and bring money to ordinary people rather than big companies.
Do you think people will travel less or more in the future?
I think overall travel will increase as incomes rise and transport becomes cheaper, but hopefully there will be more awareness about sustainability. Some types of travel may decline, like short one-day flights, while slow and meaningful travel might grow.
Finally, how important is language learning for travelers?
Language learning is very important because even small effort to speak local language shows respect and opens doors. It helps with basic things like ordering food and also builds friendships. Technology helps with translation, but learning language deepens the experience.
Thank you, Emily. That is the end of the speaking test. I see you answered in detail. We'll finish now.
Thank you. It was nice to talk about these topics. I hope my answers were clear.
The candidate demonstrated Band 6 level performance. Emily showed several specific grammatical and vocabulary errors that recurred in the test. For example, saying, I have been lived here for 5 years instead of, I have lived here for 5 years and I am very interested about music instead of I am very interested in music. She also once said, my city, it have nice beaches, where the correct form would be my city has nice beaches. These errors appeared occasionally across parts 1 to 3, and while they were noticeable, they did not prevent the listener from understanding the meaning. Fluency was generally good with natural speech flow, but there were hesitations and self-corrections, such as, sorry, maybe I am talking too much, and moments like I mean where Emily paused to search for language. Vocabulary was adequate and varied enough to discuss travel, culture, and personal experiences, with terms like sustainable tourism, community, and local businesses, though sometimes word choice was imprecise, for example, using advantage instead of advantages, or saying it have instead of it has. Grammatically, Emily used correct simple structures reliably and attempted more complex ideas, but showed occasional article errors, subject-verb disagreement, and tense mixing. These weaknesses were consistent but did not severely disrupt communication. The Band 6 score is justified because communication was clear and coherent overall, with a reasonable range of vocabulary and generally effective pronunciation, but systematic inaccuracies in grammar and occasional imprecise word choice prevented a higher band. To reach Band 7, Emily would need to reduce grammar mistakes, such as subject-verb agreement and article use more accurate prepositions like interested in, and demonstrate more consistent control of complex structures with fewer self-corrections. Strengths included natural organization of ideas, relevant extended responses, good development of examples, and communicative effectiveness. Thank you for practicing with this IELTS speaking mock test. Visit Spinta for more comprehensive mock tests and personalized feedback to boost your IELTS score.